our event, which was organized by our Muslim Student Association and the Social Science Club and the Social and Behavioral Science Department, all from Broward College. Our event was also sponsored by the Coalition for Good Government from Masjid al-Ansar. They all worked very hard to make this event possible, so thank you. We are also fortunate to have some very distinguished guests here with us tonight. We have Michael Sahir, who came all the way from Indiana to be with us tonight. We also have Calvin Hughes, WPLG Local 10 news anchor, who will be our EMC for the event. Our other distinguished guests include Ms. Khalila Ali and Dr. Ahmed Nasir, who will be speaking to you all tonight to remember Muhammad Ali, his legacy, and the impact he had on the South Florida community. We also have the assistant to the Turkish Council in the audience, so we appreciate him coming as well. We will also be honoring a few of our community members with a special service award for their hard work and dedication to South Florida over the years. It is also with a special pleasure that I tell you that we have two of our local Islamic schools presenting for us tonight on Muhammad Ali. Actually, many of us Broward College Muslim students come from these Islamic schools. So we wanted to have our younger brothers and sisters here with us tonight so we can show them how welcoming Broward College is, and so they can show us that Muslim kids are here and they are going to be a part of the American future. Our MSA at Broward College, we're thinking of how we could celebrate Black history while challenging the current image of outsiders that is being portrayed about Muslims in America. These attitudes and stereotypes matter to us, our generation, and this is our response to it, this event. We are Americans like anyone else, and we cherish and own everything American, including Black history, and we would like you all to know that. This is why we celebrate Muhammad Ali, an American hero. Thank you. What Muhammad Ali just said is very true. This is why we would also like to honor tonight our Uncle Mustasim, who's a boxing champion from Pakistan, who actually hosted Muhammad Ali when he visited Pakistan. Uncle Mustasim, please stand up so everybody can applaud. Our host for tonight will be newscaster Calvin Hughes, who anchors WPLG Local 10 News. For nearly 15 years, Calvin, who earned his bachelor's in science in journalism from the University of Missouri, Columbia, has informed us about the major news events in South Florida. The breaking news has included around-the-clock coverage on one of the worst high school shootings in American history, in Parkland, Florida, the devastation of Hurricane Irma in 2017, and his world-exclusive interview in Port-au-Prince with the past 3 democratically elected presidents of Haiti. Last year, Calvin reported from Haiti as the island nation endured one of its worst ever uprisings that lasted for 12 days. When the opposition called for his resignation, the Haitian President Moise only talked with Calvin about his future plans and refusal to quit. In 2011, the Miami New Times voted Calvin Miami's best TV news anchor, noting that he reported the story of Haiti's earthquake gracefully and professionally. In January, he returned to cover the 10-year anniversary of the earthquake in Haiti as reported and anchored live coverage for several days. Prior to South Florida, Calvin worked as an anchor reporter in Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Dallas. He also carried his pen and reporter's pad to Lexington, Kentucky, Evansville, Indiana, and Columbia, Missouri, where he launched his career on the radio at the age of 19. Calvin is also a member of several charitable organizations, including the 5,000 Role Models of Excellence Project Mentor, and donates his time and talents as a keynote speaker or MC almost weekly at schools, churches, or in civic events. He is a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. He travels to Haiti in December each year on his own time to feed and give toys to children with a charity called Angels for Humanity. Calvin has been thrilled to make South Florida his home, along with his two sons, Solomon and Roman, and his precious daughter, Sakala Danielle. And we very much appreciate that he agreed to come and make our event much nicer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Calvin Hughes, and he'll take over.
I don't know about much nicer, but that was a very warm introduction. Assalamu alaikum. You know, I could go on and on and on about my connection to Muhammad Ali. It started when I was a child. My father would sit us in front of the television back in the 70s and watch his fights. My Cosmos brothers are out there. Hi to my brothers from Cosmos. How are you guys doing? How many of you heard of Cosmos, by the way? Yeah, it's a great group. Yes, absolutely. But my experience or my connection to Ali sort of begins there. I was really close to my father. I was born in Cleveland, and so my father was a big boxing fan. And so when my mother and dad split, one way that I tried to stay connected to my dad, because I didn't see him for a few years after they split, was watching Ali fights. And I would watch them over and over and over again. And so, you know, that was, and obviously when you study Ali's life, there are so many things that you can learn from it. You know, the obvious things are courage and all those things. Standing up for what you believe in. Just his sheer, you know, mind power to say that he's going to overcome everything that came in his path. And he was going to overcome everybody. If you would have told me when I was growing up in East St. Louis, Illinois, one of the poor cities in America, that I would be an anchor in Miami, I probably would have laughed at you and would have said, "You're not talking about me." But to come here and to know that Ali had such a connection to Miami, it's really mind-blowing. I was just doing a story about 2 weeks ago at the historic Hampton House. And if you know anything about the historic Hampton House, it was the jewel of hotels in the South. And what I didn't realize was that that after Ali won the heavyweight championship of the world at the Miami Beach Convention Center, he was not allowed to go to the hotels on Miami Beach because segregation ruled the day in South Florida. He could only go back to one place, and he had to celebrate around the bar with people to say, "Hey, look what I just did. I'm 21 years old or 22 years old. I just beat Sonny Liston." And the only people who could celebrate with were strangers around the bar at the historic Hampton House. And they have the picture there if you go to the historic Hampton House in Overtown to see it. I just found that remarkable, to achieve something that is the biggest milestone of your life. And the only person you can celebrate with is someone you've never met at a bar, simply because of the color of your skin. And also if you go back during that time, the media, the Miami Herald, all the newspapers, all the radio commentators, they begged Muhammad Ali not to fight Sonny Liston. They said, "You won't beat him, he's gonna kill you inside the ring." And he didn't listen. So I could go on and on about Ali, but I have a connection to Islam as well, and I won't hold you because I know we have to introduce quite a few people, and I do want to hear from our keynote speaker as well, who came from Indianapolis, but I have a connection to the Nation of Islam as well. I remember when I first got to the University of Missouri, predominantly white school, and one of my roommate's cousin was already there. He was an engineering student. And his father was in the Fruits of Islam. And he started coming over, and I said, "Man, I'm hungry, man. I'm gonna get me some barbecue, brother. I'm gonna get me some pork, and I'm gonna tear this." And he looked at me like I was crazy. Like, "You eat that stuff?"
Yeah.
And he started talking to me about my diet. And then he started talking to me about a guy named Malcolm X. And then he started talking to me about Elijah Muhammad. And then he started talking to me about Islam. And I'm like, dude, I'm a Christian. I grew up in a Baptist church. There's nothing that you can tell me. And when he started talking to me more and more about how ignorant I was, I stopped eating pork. I went back home and you could see the look on my family members' faces, and they were like, you grew up poor. We eat bacon with just about everything. Bacon on the salad, bacon on your hamburger, bacon. And they thought I was an uppity person for doing that. And when I started explaining to them the importance of it, I won some, but I didn't win everybody. So I can go on and on about that, and I grew to be a big fan of Malcolm X. I would listen to his cassette tapes. I know some young people don't know what cassette tapes are. No. But the Ballad or the Bullet, the speeches that he gave, I wanted to talk exactly like Malcolm X. I mean, his story of transformation, I can go on and on and on. So anyway, the universe is perfect. And so I'm so glad that I have a chance to be a part of this event. And I'm also glad that I'm able to talk about one of my heroes. And so I have, this pen just keeps on falling, and I'm not going to pick it up again. So I am going to introduce the two schools that are going to give a presentation. And I'm going to begin with STEMS and Raja. South Florida has a very diverse and vibrant Muslim community. Salah Tawfiq Elementary and Middle School is one of the 5 local full-time Islamic schools established in 2000, about 20 years ago, to serve the growing needs of South Florida, the Muslim community here. So the school serves students from pre-K, pre-3 to 8th grade. But FYI, STEMS has one of the top-rated VPK programs in Broward County. So Broward College is the school of choice to many Muslim students from STEMS as they pursue their higher education. And not far from home, Broward College provides support and excellence in education, and we are very happy about the mutual relationship and support. But our Dina, who's going to be talking to us today, Dina is the alumni of STEMS as well as Raja, and she is now going to say a few words as we learn about Muhammad Ali at our school. So STEMS has been Raja's home since she was only 3 years old. I think she's a little older now. We're certainly proud of her. Raja, come on up. Let's give her a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. Ali was the greatest in the ring and humble in front of his creator. He never shied away from his race, color, name, or faith, and he made sure that the people of this country knew exactly who he was and what he believed in. He said, "I am America. I'm the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky. My name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own. Get used to me." In times of blatant racism and oppression, he spoke the truth of Muslims and African Americans everywhere. America is more than just the white people who created laws and systematic values of segregation. America was made of people with different cultures, faiths, and nationalities. People who had names that weren't Steve or John, people that didn't believe in Catholicism or Christianity, and people who came here to chase their own dreams, not the ones they were told to. Even with the racism he faced his entire life, Muhammad Ali was still able to make jokes in situations that were difficult, such as when a waitress in a restaurant refused to take his order just because he was black. "We don't serve Negroes," she said, and he replied wittily, "I don't eat them either. Just give me a cup of coffee and a hamburger." When America began enlisting men for the Vietnam War, many fled to other countries to avoid having to join and being faced with punishment. And there were multiple protests by the citizens. Ali, who didn't believe in the war, plainly refused the American government and was stripped of his boxing license, passport, and title, and sentenced to 5 years in prison at the peak of his career for taking a stand against a war and an institution he didn't believe in. "You're my opposer when I want freedom. You're my opposer when I want equality. You're my opposer when I want justice. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home." He was a free spirit, and he wouldn't conform to other people's wishes and ideas of him just because they thought he should. He was a strong, proud African American, and he worked hard throughout his entire life to make sure the life he lived was the life he wanted. This act of protest showed people all across the country that Muhammad Ali was someone who stood tall and stuck by his principles no matter what the punishment, and inspired many to take up signs for protest when they realized they were fighting a war they didn't want. Though he paid the price with jail time, this one act helped raise more voices to bring the war to an end as he had wished. He had many beliefs about life that carried him throughout the struggles he faced, and he wanted others to be able to embody these beliefs as well in their own lives. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing, Ali said. In his eyes, life could only be truly lived by doing good, standing up for what you believe in, taking risks, and striving to be the best version of yourself possible. Using his position, he advocated for civil rights and to reduce prejudice against Muslims, both of which he considered integral to his identity. Hating people because of their color is wrong, and it doesn't matter which color does the hating, it's still wrong. With the belief that all people are created equal and that a true Muslim advocates for justice, he argued against multiple facets of government and society that allowed things such as segregation, racism, genocide, and Islamophobia to occur. Muhammad Ali will always be known for his rebellious nature, witty mouth, and incredible boxing ability. America was the greatest after Ali won a gold medal in the 1960 Olympic Summer Games in Rome, Italy. After he won, he wrote this poem. To make America the greatest is my goal, so I beat the Russians and I beat the Pole. And for the USA won the medal of gold. Italians said, "You're greater than the Cassius of old. We like your name, we like your game, so make Rome your home if you will." I said, "I appreciate your kind hospitality, but the USA is my country still, 'cause they're waiting to welcome me in Louisville." Ali created a legacy that will live on forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Most people don't realize that Ali threw his Olympic medal in the Kentucky River when he was not served. Clara Mohammed School, CMS as it's called. Since the 1930s, the Clara Mohammed school system has been at the cutting edge of this movement. Despite numerous threats of imprisonment by local authorities, the late sister Clara Mohammed, the wife of the Honorable Elijah Mohammed, started Islamic schools in America when she refused to send her children to the public school system. A very strong-willed woman in the mold of Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman, Sister Mohammed, did not feel that the existing environment provided the proper education, self-respect, and dignity her children deserved. So we have a few students from CMS who are going to speak. Let's listen to them. Come on up. A few students who are from CMS. Clara Mohammed School. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. We will first start off with a surah recited by Zayd Salahuddin.
Assalamu alaikum. Tonight I will say a surah called Teen. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتين وزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم غير مجنون فما يكاتبوا الغائبين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين.
Finally, we'll have a quote from Muhammad Ali recited by Sylvester Squire.
We all have the same God, we just serve him differently. Rivers, lakes, ponds, and streams all have different names, but they all contain water. So the religions have different names, but express the truth in different ways and forms and times. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, Christian, or Jew. When you believe in God, you should believe that all his people are part of one family. And if you love God, you can't only love some of his children. like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I am Muhammad Ali.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
March time. March. Fruit, move out.
I'm officially taking my 3 children out of public school. I can't get them to move like that even when they're hungry. My goodness, you met them too. Oh my God. That's great. Wow. That's awesome. I mean, I get them to do the same thing. More than one. Okay, so now we have the part of the program where we're going to award some really special people. And to do the honors is someone who's been a part of this community for a very long time. You may know his name, Imam Ahmed Nasir. Yes, yeah, you guys knew who I was going to say before I even said it, huh? He is part of one of the oldest Islamic centers in the state of Florida and the first school, Mohammed. He's also an oral surgeon. If you need your grill done, he told me he can work on you if you got some issues. Can you do the gold grill, brother? You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay, all right. He's not that advanced, but he can at least work on you if you got some trouble. He was, in fact, on a serious note, a personal friend of Muhammad Ali, who actually changed his name, if I'm not mistaken, from Cassius to Muhammad Ali on his front lawn in Allapattah. He held a news conference there. Imam Ahmed Nasir, come on up and say a few words for us and do the honors.
Thank you so very much. Peace be unto you all. To the Jews, shalom alaikum. To the Christians, assalamu alaikum. To the Spanish, bienvenidos. To the Muslims, assalamu alaikum. To the Haitians, this young man here, Calvin, there's nothing I can do for him. He's already handsome. You can't, God has done him justice. But I want to give our thanks and appreciation to Dr. Mirsad. He's in the background over here. We couldn't have done this without him. He's a wonderful man. He's a fighter. He's a freedom fighter. You know, no exaggeration. I want to thank Calvin again. And I went to Haiti. I did surgeries in Haiti. So the next time you go, I want to go with you. And I want to do surgeries in Haiti. Okay? Yeah. God wanted us to meet to do this. This is the monthly seminar that we started way back in 1979. And we dealt with issues that was hurting the community. And now we are reestablishing them in the name of her is Andrella Hamid. And she was the one that started this in our community. And as we have up here, ACGG is the American Coalition for Good Government. Some people are afraid to be around Muslims, so we created this entity so that they would see that we address social issues, economic issues, and then once they get to know us, then we can say we're Muslims. The next organization, very powerful, very effective, Cosmos. Thank God for them. They have really made relationships extremely easy for Muslims, from the top level down to the street level.
What's their name again?
It's called Cosmos. The organization Cosmos, yes. And I've been knowing them for almost 50 years, you know, and some of their leaders have passed away. So we thank God for this. And this is all I want to say at this point in time. And we can proceed with the awards, you know. And Calvin, but I wanted to do this is Mikhail Hamid. Where's Mikhail? Come up here. Up. Front center. March. We're all in the Nation of Islam. He's the director of the American Coalition for Good Government. So we just wanted to just take time just for a few minutes to introduce ourselves and And then we can go with the program of the award,
Yeah, uh-huh.
Calvin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the first awardee, as a matter of
No, no. He's gonna be with the.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. We'll have to take it out of order because some of our awardees are in traffic or wherever they are. So we're gonna come, Calvin. Yeah. He makes us look authentic.
Well,
He's been working with the Muslim community for many, many years.
yes.
And we thank God for you.
Okay.
Yeah. You can-
So Wayne Rollins is the first awardee. Wayne Rollins, come on. Congratulations.
You deserve this award.
Oh, you want to get into it?
Let me see that.
All right, we're going to hold you to 2 minutes, brother.
I know.
120 seconds. Can you say a few words?
Yeah, tell them a little bit what you do. The reason why I'm asking him to do it, we had a beautiful PowerPoint with all of his bio and Kalila's bio, and the machine went out.
Oh.
It was too much for the projector. So please share your experience. Don't worry.
Did you take some of my 2 minutes?
No, go ahead.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. I said that in 1991 at Masjid Al-Ansar, the same place where you saw the young children come and where Muhammad Ali has been walked through and so many other amazing people. So I'm honored to be here. I guess I must be close to my janazah if I'm getting a service award.
Any years ago.
Alhamdulillah. But it's always a special honor to be recognized by your peers and by the brothers that you pray next to on a daily basis. And we're just very, very thankful to be able to be of service to humanity and to Allah's creation. And it is my hope that Allah guides everyone's heart here to Al-Islam. When I picked up the Quran when I was 16 years old, Abdullah Yusuf Ali's translation, and it talked about the prophets I learned in Bible study, but then it talked about the sole sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for me, that was it. Khalas, done. It's over. That's it. It's the truth. I was supposed to tell a little bit about myself, wasn't I? Okay. Do I have 30 seconds left?
You're good.
Thank you, Calvin.
2 more minutes. Yeah.
2 more minutes.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, that was it for me. And I beg Allah that He makes that moment available to you as well. Just pick up the Quran, read it, and you make your own determination and your own judgment. So anyway, I came here from New York. I studied at the Jazzmobile Workshop. I was an entertainer and in the business of music. I promoted the Miami Jazz Festival, Latin Mix Jazz Festival, all of that. And then, even though I read the Quran at 16, I didn't take Shahada until much later. So music was a part of my life, and then no longer is for those that know. But I don't want to offend anybody. But at any rate, I lost everything on a show called the American Jazz Awards. It was the Grammys for jazz, and it was to be held at the Gusman Center. Black tie, American Gold Card event. I mean, we spent about $250,000 in advertising back in the the 90s, early 90s. So, I mean, that was not bad, but it failed, it flopped, because in Miami, jazz music is more something at a nightclub and a free festival at the park, not so much like New York or Chicago or LA. So anyway, I got out of the business, and I met a brother called Abdul Muslim, and he told me that, well, you can take Shahada. I was like, Shahada, where, when? You know what I mean? It's like, you should have told me that when I was 16 years old. So I went to Al Ansar immediately, that first Jummah after that, and I took Shahada, and had an opportunity to work at a place called OIC as the chief fiscal officer. They place people into jobs in Liberty City. And 6 months after joining them, the executive director got ill, and they asked me to take over when the organization just got defunded. So there was no money, but they said, Wayne, could you be the executive director? I'm like, okay. So by the grace of Allah, we raised $500,000 over the next 15 months. And we had a number of nationally recognized programs. And I was asked to take over a program called Weed and Seed, which was a U.S. Department of Justice initiative to weed out crime and seed in social and economic programs. We saw a 75% reduction in homicides in Liberty City during our time, and we were sent all over the country to train U.S. attorneys and police departments and so forth and so on. I went independent, I became an independent consultant. It feels really weird talking about myself like this, but they asked me to, so please forgive me. One more minute, Calvin, okay. I can listen to him for 20 minutes, but he said I know you got the rep. Okay, all right, cool. And when y'all gonna get a hijabi newscaster? Come on. So anyway. But anyway, in the last 30 seconds, now I run a $7 million 4-year program to reduce shootings and homicides in Miami-Dade County. It's called the Miami-Dade County Anti-Violence Initiative. And, so far we had I don't know if you've noticed, but I know that Calvin's noticed, because you haven't had any homicides in Liberty City and Brownsville in the last 3 weeks. So, and that means, for those of you that live in Parkland and Southwest Ranches, and that you may say, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, that's a big deal in Liberty City. I can't remember the last time we went 3 weeks without a homicide. So our strategy is working, and I thank Allah for putting me in a position to be able to assist and help others. And finally, I saw Samir here around here somewhere. Did he leave? I thought I saw him here. But anyway, we're there, Samir, the president, CEO, executive director, president of the South Florida Muslim Federation, who had the pleasure of being the founding president, or the first president, however, it's probably called. And it's a great organization. We all need to support them, Cosmos, and all the other Muslim organizations that are doing amazing work. And I'm done. Okay.
Thank you very much. And even though she doesn't wear a hijab on television, Syra Anwar is on our air. The first on air, she is a Muslim. She is a practicing Muslim, but I think the new generation, nouveau Muslims, is sort of different. They are probably not as traditional, but she's probably one of the smartest people in our newsroom. I mean, she speaks several languages, and she grew up a practicing Muslim. So there you go, my brother. Wayne, there you go. All right. So. And don't beat up the messenger. My job as the MC is to move it along. So I'm going to be the same way with Kalila. So do you want to say a few? And it's tough to get women not to hold to 5 minutes. So I know she's going to take about 15. Here you go, my brother.
Yes. This young lady and I, our home in Chicago, and her husband at that time, when I was a young man, Muhammad Ali. And he was a great role model as a young man, as we all were back in that day. And she and her parents were model families for us in Chicago, believe it or not. And she was born into the community and raised in the house of the leader at that time, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he told her one day she's going to be a great woman. And she's just about fulfilled all that. And what I want to say with regards to this is that women are the guardians of the sanctuary of life. Okay? And paradise lies at the foot of mother. Come up here, sweetheart. And a man can rise no higher than his woman. No man can rise any higher than his woman. So our prophet said, paradise lies at the foot of mother. And whenever we lose that relationship, then the family and the society is going to hell. So I want to say that because it took a strong woman to be with such a handsome man. Can you imagine every woman in the planet going after her husband? So she had to be strong. Yeah, she had to be strong. It's okay. She had to be a strong woman. Okay? So this is why we're giving her some recognition. And I'd like for her to tell what she is doing. She travels all over the world. And her heart is to try to help humanity, especially the young children, you know. So I present to you Khalila Ali. Takbir.
Thank you, brother. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It is an honor to be before you. Wow, it's very special for me. I'm working on my autobiography, Special Moments. And it's called The Untold Story, the woman really behind Muhammad Ali. As you know, I have to always give tribute to Allah for giving me parents, Sadruddin Ali and Amina Ali. What you don't know, how Muhammad Ali got his name, is through my family. And it wouldn't be a Muhammad Ali if it wasn't for me. That was a blessing from Allah. When I grew up at Sister Clara Muhammad School, but at that time it was Muhammad's University of Islam. From kindergarten to 12th grade, as I graduated valedictorian out of the Muslim school. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I see why he said what he said, that I would be famous one day, simply because he assigned me at the age of 13 to teach and show Cassius Clay why we are who we are and what we believe in. So you see people baking a cake, but all those who don't see the baking of the cake, you enjoy the cake. But it was a lot of baking before you got a Muhammad Ali. So he wasn't as educated as we were as Muslims. He was from the South. And all this brazen thing you're brazen about right now, he learned through us. Every woman nurtures her child. And I was there as a blessing from Allah to nurture Cassius Clay. In my book that you will see, I met this man when I was 10 years old. You didn't know that, did you?
No.
He was 18 years old when he came to the University of Islam, Muhammad's University of Islam, number 2 in Chicago. I was hanging up bulletin boards on the board at 10. He had just won the gold medal. I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know about gold medals. We wasn't in this world of sport and play. We was anti-sport and play. So we didn't know anything about any other sport other than what we read in the Encyclopedia Britannica and the world books, encyclopedias. So when he came up, I'm going to tell you this because it's in the book. You have missing a lot of information. And I've been quiet for over 60 years, not telling my story, because it took time for me to heal. It took time for me to forgive, because divorce is not something that's a fun thing. It's a bad thing. It took time for me to heal. It took time for me to forgive. And it took time for me to adjust. So when he came that day, I had no idea who this guy was. I knew I'd be seeing this guy for a long time though. Something came to me. And the only thing I heard when he got on this podium in the school, he said, I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the world before I'm 21, so get your autographs now. I'm going to be famous. And I'm saying to myself, how the hell is he going to be famous and he's not a Muslim? I didn't get it. I was 10. And then he came up to me and handed me the paper and said, this is my autograph, little girl. And I said, your name is Cassius Marcellus Clay. That's your name? He said, yeah. I said, Cassius Marcellus is a Roman name. Do you know what Romans did to people? No. I said, then here you got Clay. It's like dirt you mold. And it's a slave name. And you proud of this, brother? He said, I thought I was. And as I kindly tore the name up, ripping it apart, bit by bit, I said, until you have a name of honor, until you have a name of respect, matter of fact, until you have a Muslim name, you ain't gonna be nothing. You're not gonna be famous with this name. Then I walked away. He said, who is that? She told him my name, man. He said, man, that's the Princess of Islam. That's what Elijah Muhammad used to call me. He said, what? How old is she? He said, 10. 10! She told him her name. She's real pretty, too. He said, you got to leave her alone now. Don't go there, because if you meet her father, you're in big, big trouble. So that's just a little glimpse of what's in the book, because I want to let you all know Muhammad Ali wasn't that educated. He wasn't that smart. And he was going to go to the army. Y'all didn't know that till he got a load of me. So when he was going to go to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, brothers, we don't go to the army because we are conscientious objectors. We don't go to white man's wars. He said, oh, he said, what's a conscience, he said, well, I want you to call that little sister up that tore up your paper, your name. You call her up and ask her, what does a Muslim believe in? She will tell you in layman's terms. Now, the other Elijah Muhammad assigned me to tell this to this. You were 21 then, right? And I'm going, when Elijah Muhammad tell you to do something, you don't question it, you just do it. But when I got home, I go, why is he asking me? I'm only 13 at that time. So when he called me up, he asked me, I said, brothers, he said, what do you mean by it? They say you're smart. So the other Elijah Muhammad calling you to tell me about Vietnam. If I go to the army, I'm going to be in the gym like Joe Louis. I ain't going to have to fight. Now this is what your Cassius Clay said. That's what he said. But they already drafted him once, and he failed the psychological test. He failed. When he started hanging around Muslims, he's smart now. They came after him again. Because he's smart now. So when he said, well, Elijah told me to call you, so why can't I go? I'm going to be in the gym like Joe Louis. I said, you trust the white man that much? My father is a soldier. He was a soldier in the army. You go to a soldier, you have to fight. You have to fight, and you have to fight for your fellow man and watch your, what he's telling you. So I'm going to tell you this little, then you read the rest of the book. So he said, I said, brother Clay, what does those Vietnamese look like? He said, they brown like me. And you want to go over there and fight them? No, I'm not going to go fight them. I'm going to go to the gym. I said, tell you what, look. We don't do that. They have never lynched you. They have never called you a nigger. They have never done that to you, and you want to go in there and fight them. He said, but I'm not going to go fight them. I don't want to fight my brothers. But you can't sign your name on that paper because we are Muslims. And to be a Muslim, that's what you should be. He said, you know what, I really don't understand that, but I just want to know, what would you do if you was me? And I told him, I said, hell no, I ain't gonna go. Clean out my cell. Take me to jail without bail. Hell no. He said, you said it to a white man for real? Hell yeah. I didn't tell the guy to go on the news and tell everybody everything I said, but he did. So I have to say that to say this to you. When you read my book, you're gonna know the inside story, because I actually nurtured him. So when you heard him, you heard me. And that's what husband and wives do. They help each other that way. My son is here. This is the only son of Muhammad Ali. My son, Muhammad Ibn Ali.
Just bring Ali back to you. I'm a Muslim. That's my religion. My name is no longer Cassius Clay. Travis, nothing is my religious belief. I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. Man, I'm so mean I made medicine sick. I done wrestle with lion. I done tussle with whale. I done handcuff light through thunder jail. Man, I'm so fast, I can turn off the light, hit switch, get in bed for the room get dark. That's fast. I'm a Tower Coast sale. I told Howard his head phone, he come from tail of a pony. And I talked to his wife. And he said he wasn't 7, it was 2 years ago.
Wow. Thank you, yes, absolutely.
I want to thank y'all for coming and supporting this. The book is going to be great. You're going to love it. I just want to tell you, there are superheroes in this world. And when I came to this man's home with his family, he's a superhero. To see a black man on national television talking diction and education, this is what we were looking for back in the day. This young man right here is a superhero. He's an educated man. And Lama has a beautiful family. And one second. And I want to let you know, read the book. And this man right here, my father trained him as an FOI.
Yeah, he did. He did.
And I was an MGT. We were soldiers. We taught Cassius Clay. We opened that door and nurtured him. So when you hear him, you're hearing me. Those are my words. Because I did it because I wanted him to be the greatest man of all time, the greatest Muslim of all times. Not because of a fighter, because he has a kind heart. And he loves Allah.
Well, I have a pleasure in introducing Elaine. I'm not going to try to read her bio. I'm going to come from my heart. She's been supportive of Masjid Al-Ansar. She's with the Liberty City Trust. And whenever we need any support at the City of Miami, it's the one person that I can always call and get support. And she's always been supportive of the Muslim community from Philadelphia when she lived there and when she moved here in Miami. She's a great supporter of Masjid Al-Ansar. We welcome her. She supports everything that we do. The masjid, if you didn't know it, Masjid Al-Ansar is a historical preservation site. The oldest masjid paid with cash by the Honorable Elijah Mohammed back in 1966. And so Elaine has been supportive of our community as a force of reckoning, and we give honor to her for her contribution.
First of all, thank you so very much for allowing me to be here tonight. And I'm sorry I was not able to hear more of what Mrs. Ali had to say. But I've heard her before, and she's a very passionate woman, and she understands so well the plight that we all have. And I look forward to continuing to work with the mosque and ensuring that you are able to accomplish the things that you want to see as we go further into the 20th century. So much has happened in the last 50 years, but so little in many cases have been accomplished. So we will continue to work together to accomplish our mutual goals of ensuring that we have the quality of life that we all want. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, the next honoree is a man who came into the community, oh man, I think 1969, maybe earlier than that. His name is James Muhammad Sharif. And he founded the first businessmen's group in the mosque. He would feed 500 to 1,000 people almost every week at the masjid. And there's so many, he was a lieutenant in the Nation of Islam at that time. He was kind of like Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr didn't tell you his story. He has a beautiful story. Almost, you think it's not the truth. These men and what they have accomplished, you know. And so we have the award for Mr. James Muhammad Sharif. Any of the family members are they here? Deeb? Okay. Well, his daughter was the former mayor, Barbara Sharif. Yeah, she's commissioner. Yes.
She's a friend of mine.
Yeah. This is her dad we're honoring.
Oh.
Yeah. So you see, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree.
Right. Is she here? Is anybody here?
No, I don't. So we'll take it in behalf.
Okay.
But in our religion, there's a term for man called rajul. It's one of the terms you call man, rajul. And rajul means man, and if you change one little letter, it's rijulun, which means legs. And it means that when the woman is pregnant, she carries that baby in her body. Everywhere she goes, the baby goes. And once she drops that load, and that baby grows up, now he has to be the legs for his family as she was the legs when he was in her womb. And so this is the kind of men that we're giving respect and honor to. Yeah. So I thank you, Calvin, for being with us. And he's just a good-looking man. Look at him. That's why I always want to take a picture with him.
All right. So our keynote speaker knows exactly what cold weather is all about. He comes to us from Indianapolis, so he's really happy to be in South Florida. We're going to blame him for dropping the temperature for him coming here. So Michael Sahir has been the Imam, the Islamic minister of the Nur Allah Islamic Center in Indianapolis, Indiana since 1992. Man, we got to pray for this brother. Yeah, he's been cold for a long time. His duties include serving as the director for the Clara Mohammed Weekend School and attending to the community needs of the Islamic Center. He is a student of Imam W. Dean Mohammed. Imam Michael Sahir has written a book, The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, The Man Behind the Men, currently in its second edition, an account of Elijah Muhammad's life that seeks to show many of the positive contributions of the civil rights struggle by the late leader of the Nation of Islam, particularly his leadership as lived out through Minister Malcolm X, boxing champion Muhammad Ali, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Imam W. Dean Mohammed. Sahir was awarded the 2011 Author of the Year by Family Matters of New York City. He writes a monthly column for the Indianapolis Recorder titled Al-Islam in America that addresses issues that Muslims and Americans in general may have about Islam. Michael also writes for the Muslim Journal, a national Islamic newspaper. Imam Sahir has completed his Islamic Hajj, the pilgrimage to the holy sites in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. He's also made numerous visits to Rome and the Vatican City in support of interfaith efforts. Imam Michael Sahir was awarded as the Council for Interfaith Cooperation in 2019 Ambassador of the Year by the Center for Interfaith Cooperation. And in January of 2003, Michael graduated from Martin University, summa cum laude, earning a BA degree in Human Exchange. But most importantly, at least for me, he's been a husband to his wife Carolyn for 39 years. And is the father of one daughter, I hope I say this right, Aline Kita, and 3 sons, Michael, Hamid, and Mohammed. He's also a retired firefighter in Indianapolis. He did that for 38 years, a first responder. There's nothing he has not seen, I'm sure, over the course of his life as a first responder. Let's give him a very warm welcome, a South Florida welcome. Imam Michael Sayyid.
Assalamu alaikum. I seek protection with Allah from Satan, the rejected enemy. To everyone gathering, again, Assalamu alaikum. This is an honor to be here. Very special. Here with the family of Muhammad Ali. And I have to give thanks to Imam Nasir Ahmed and Brother Mikhail Hamid for inviting me here, and to Dr. Mirsad, Dr. K, who was told to call him by his students, for having me here at this wonderful institution. Yes, it's a good thing to be in Florida in February. I did not bring the cold weather, not that I know of. I greet your audience and thank you for coming and supporting this marvelous event. My honor to meet my brother Kelvin Hughes, and thank you for that wonderful welcome. I have to admit, you say he's handsome, but that voice kind of roars on it. You hear your name come like, I said, oh, I hope I can match that. Expectation. So, yes, I'm praying right now for success and do this right. But I feel very comfortable that I will, because the help of Allah is always near. It's not coming, it's always near. So today is a special day. We are honoring and celebrating Muhammad Ali, but not just the man, Muhammad Ali, but more importantly, Muhammad Ali as the hope of a people. I recall in my childhood, if Muhammad Ali won the fight, I was happy for a week. If he lost a fight, I was sad for a month. Because he and Joe Louis and others, God gave them the ability to represent a bigger picture of a people's struggle than just the one or two men in the boxing ring. And so that's very important for us to keep in mind as we discuss Muhammad Ali, taking it out of the picture of just the man, but what he came to represent, what he showed the world, that he was the hope of a people. Yes, he fought the biggest and the baddest people out there and whipped them all. But also, we see him fight the government, and it's glad to know the support of his wife behind that. And he had support from a lot of people. But when you're in that ring by yourself, and those like me who tried along the way to be a boxer, when you get in that ring by yourself, you by yourself. And then we watched him fight Parkinson's. You know, when you are a fighter, a real fighter, don't get caught up on what you see in the ring. Worry about the fight outside the ring, when you're fighting against odds that no one thinks you can win. Because he didn't know going in the outcome. But no matter what the challenge was before him, until the angel of death took him away physically, he fought and he stood. And he became victorious. And when he rose, we were lifted. When he was set down, we would sat down. Who all in here been to the Muhammad Ali Museum in Louisville? I see a few hands going up. When you go into that building, it's downtown Louisville too. You get on an escalator. One escalator, 6 stories nonstop. Yeah, one escalator. Then you get off in the first floor, second floor is all Muhammad Ali. Now they got an airport in Louisville named Muhammad Ali Airport. How do you get to that state? What do you achieve in life to get those honors? What do you do in life to where you can go anywhere in the world? Anywhere in the world. And the world knows you. Well, it was promised that the name Muhammad would be the most famous name in the world. And it's good to know that one of ours was a part of that in making that name known around the world, because Muslims know Muhammad, the prophet, peace be upon him. But Jews, Christians, Buddhists, atheists, everybody know Muhammad Ali around the world. So he stood, he was a fighter. He fought for freedom, justice, and equality. He was fighting for Islam. So we are celebrating Muhammad Ali. I like the flyer. He said he was an American hero, but I think they meant to put he was a world hero, because he was and he is. But the question is, how does a big mouth kid from Louisville, Kentucky, has so much mouth until they call him the Louisville Lip? How do he go from that to become the beloved Muhammad Ali around the world? How does that happen? How do we continue to promote Muhammad Ali to where he is not just a person, but for the next generation to come, and for generations untold? For Muhammad Ali to become who he was from Cassius Clay, he had to meet somebody bigger than Cassius Clay. Now we all know now he met Sister Khalila Ali.
Oh yeah, that was his first match, right?
That's his first match, yes. Okay, now, but he also met a little bitty man. 5'5", I heard, 149, 50 pounds, named Elijah Muhammad. A little man that was big. It takes a big man to make a big man bigger. So when Muhammad Ali met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he took off. And we understand Muhammad Ali had good parents. Odessa Clay, Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr., good parents, good life, good foundation. They put him on the right road, gave him good direction, gave him good guidance. But his greatness that made him succeed was when he met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When he met Malcolm X. When Ali met Malcolm X, the view of himself and of his people. See, the difference between a Muhammad Ali and any other boxer was that he was given an ideal. He was given a concept that was bigger than himself.
That's right.
Now, I'm sure he would have knocked out everybody who he knocked out along the way, because he was naturally a good boxer. I'm sure of that. But him being given a higher value and purpose in life by the Nation of Islam, that lifted him up to a higher status. He said, I'm down fighter. I guess I won't be reading this one. You know what that was?
Yeah.
They would float like a butterfly. So when he's given a higher picture of himself to where he's no longer in the ring fighting for himself. I read one time he would go and read about a forgotten boxer. And when he got in the ring, he said, this fight is for this particular forgotten boxer. The next fight for this forgotten boxer. And then he would say, who's the next bum I'm going to fight? That's Muhammad Ali. He was elevated above himself. We too have to be elevated above ourselves. Don't just see me, Michael Sahir, living this life for Michael Sahir. I'm living this life for my people. And we get that from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I can't say that enough about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. When Muhammad Ali met Imam Muhammad, Imam Walter D. Muhammad, he elevated Ali higher by introducing him to the Quran, but not just to the book. Imam W. Muhammad introduced Muhammad Ali to a clear understanding of the book. There is a difference, a big difference, because the Quran has been around for 1,400 years. But when Imam Walter D. Muhammad, the son of Elijah Muhammad, introduced Ali to that book with a clear understanding, Ali was lifted. His fighting becomes bigger than just for himself. And it gave him a taste of heaven right here on earth.
Right.
So to celebrate Muhammad Ali, you must celebrate the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So let's go and turn the corner a little bit. When he got that name, Muhammad Ali, we saw the video earlier. He was proud. You can see he said, "My name is Muhammad Ali." Muhammad means one worthy of praise. Ali means the Most High. And he's told us where he got the name from. And some of his foes were trying to mess with him and get called him Cassius Clay on purpose. I think it was Floyd Patterson when he paid the worst price for it. He said, Clay. He said, oh, he got him in the ring and he whooped you so bad. He said, "What's my name, sucker?" And then when he would fall, he would let him fall. He wanted to beat him up some more. "What's my name, sucker?" Pow! "What's my name, sucker?" But that was telling the world that this man understood the importance of a name. And that a name is a description of your inside, your quality. And they would ask our brother Malcolm X, they say, "Well, Mr. X, what's your real name?" Like they didn't know it already, right? And they say, "What's your real name?" He said, "I don't know my real name." He said, "You don't know your real name?" He said, "No, sir." He said, "But your name before you were called X." He said, he kept saying, "I don't know my real name." He said, "Well, what about your father's name?" He said, "Well, my father didn't know his name." He said, "My father got his name from his father, who got it from his father, who got it from the slave master." He said, "That's not my name." So just the name itself goes a long way. That's heaven here on earth. Now, I love the fight. They call it the Rumble in the Jungle. October 30th, 1974. Muhammad Ali and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad were not quite seeing eye to eye. Muhammad Ali was kind of on the outs. But this fight here, because she said it, the nation of Islam was not that big on sports. And Elijah Muhammad wanted Muhammad Ali leave boxing, come and be my minister. But Ali continued to box. But on this particular fight, Jabir, who was the son of Elijah Muhammad, he said, "My father said, again, you're fighting for your people." Now, we got to go back and kind of the weeks leading into the fight. Muhammad Ali was going around Zaire doing his thing. He's out there with the people. He's in the street. He's hugging babies. He's kissing babies. George Foreman walking around with a Belgian Shepherd. You say, "Well, what's so big about a Belgian Shepherd?" That was the same dog that the oppressors used when they were attacking the people, when they were being oppressed. Now here come Foreman. He got the same dog walking around Zaire. So what happened?
Call them German shepherds.
Right. Yes, German shepherds.
German shepherds.
Yes, they were. Yes.
Hitler used those.
Yes, But it was the same dog that the people who were oppressing the people
That's
out here,
That's right.
then when they were oppressing them, they had the same dog.
Doing
Yeah.
the riots.
Poor George Foreman, I don't think he knew.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
But yet still, he became the Belgians in effigy. He became the symbol of oppression. And Muhammad Ali going around kissing babies and everything, right? Yeah. So what happened on the night of the fight? What did the people say?
Ali Boumbaye.
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 Yeah.
Ali. Boumbaye. What does that mean?
Ali killed him.
Kill him. All during the fight. Ali. Boumbaye.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Now, but how did Ali get to that point? Elijah Muhammad, Khalil Ali,
That's right.
was teaching him, said,
If
you are
lose, I'm
fighting.
gonna whoop it. There you go. I said, if you lose, I'm gonna whoop you on national television. Karate chop. I wouldn't get in the ring with it. I ain't that crazy.
Yeah, they crazy. Karate chop. You mean karate?
9th degree black belt.
9th degree black belt?
Taught by Bruce Lee. And he
Okay.
said, you really would do that? I said, yeah, I'm just Allah. He said, okay.
That's right. But with that fight, that became like a good picture of how we should see Muhammad Ali. That he was one that would raise up and stand for his people and stand for what is right. My papers are out of order now. They're just going all over the place. So I just say this here in closing. Just give me a minute to make sure I'm not leaving anything out. You know, everybody has a Muhammad Ali story.
Everybody.
And I got a couple of them, but I just tell one. Well, I got two or three. No, you know what? I got a picture. I cannot find it. It was me, Muhammad Ali, and the Dalai Lama.
Oh.
I'm
Well, how
finding it.
did you find it?
Everybody raved about that picture. I've been looking for about 2 or 3 years now for that picture.
He'll come up.
Yeah, he come up inshallah. But one story that I shared, he was speaking at a mosque in Ohio, and Imam Muhammad Sadiq and I, we drove from Indianapolis to meet Muhammad Ali at the airport. And what's the photographer? Oh my goodness.
Howard Bingham.
Howard Bingham. Yeah, we picked him up at the airport. So they tell me to drive the car. So I'm driving. Howard Bingham's in the front seat. And Muhammad Sadiq, Imam Sadiq, and Ali in the back seat. But there was the person going, a young brother about 25 years old, at the airport. Said, "You want to ride with us?" He said, "Yes." You know, he said, "You can believe it. I'm riding with Muhammad Ali." They put him in the middle of the back seat. There's Ali, him, and Imam Sadiq, and no one knew that Muhammad Ali and Howard Bingham had this game they play on everybody.
Oh, I remember.
You know what you know what it is.
Go ahead.
So we driving down the highway, and Ali, he nods off and make a little snore. God knowing that's the cue to Howard Bingham, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and Howard was like me, you know, he had a speech impediment because my childhood I had a trouble impediment. So, but still Howard Bingham, he going along with it. He said, "Oh no," he said he done fell asleep. And when he fall asleep, he had flashbacks of fighting in the ring. And so I'm like to myself, I'm like, "Ooh, I'm so glad I'm in the front seat." And then Ali began to, he got his eyes shut. And the guy in the middle, he's like having to feel like he's stuck. And he's nervous. But then, of course, Ali bust out laughing. And we all laughed then. But that was Muhammad Ali. He would do tricks, magic tricks.
Magic trick.
But he would always tell you when he got done how he done it.
Yes.
And why did he do that? Because he's Muslim. Like he knew he did not have the right to trick somebody and not tell them the truth of it. It's against the rules of Muslim to lie, even if it's a joke or a trick. you still have to come back and tell what is right. So Muhammad Ali is more to us than just the man in the boxing ring. He is a man that God raised for the season, for the time.
That's right.
He, when Allah put his hand on a situation, there's nothing we can do about it. We are told whatever you have coming, if Allah deems for you to receive it, can anyone take it from you? But if Allah has something not for you, no matter how hard you try, or we try and give it to you, you will never receive it. So we were blessed to receive a Muhammad Ali. And we have to take him and personify him as being a part of us, because there's a lot of things that we enjoy in life, that we have received in life, is because of a man named Muhammad Ali. He has the right name for the conditions and for the times. And we have to honor him and respect him. And the best way to do that is to teach about him. Teach the truth. Get the book. I can't wait to get the book.
I've been reading that.
You've been reading my book?
Your book.
My book.
I love your book.
You love my book?
It's awesome.
No.
Tell them the name of your book.
Yeah, but I meant your book. Well, you meant my book.
I'm talking about your book.
Okay.
I love your book.
You my book?
Yeah, you made me have flashbacks.
Oh, good. You know what? And I say this in closing. Now, I do have a little plug in for myself. Put some on back. And I'll sign it for you. My book is titled The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, The Man Behind the Man, featuring 4 men that he groomed. His son, Imam Mohammed, Minister Malcolm X, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Muhammad Ali. And
Wonderful book.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
You know, and I say
It
this
should be
here.
the bestseller. It should be the bestseller out there, really. I'm
You know-
gonna submit you a book for bestseller.
I will say this here. I became convinced it was a good book when the sons of Elijah Muhammad began to praise the book. I said, my goodness.
You know what? I put your book on the same shelf as Langston Hughes. Because you're giving a pure story.
Somebody give me a chair.
But it's true. I mean, you're doing what we're supposed to do, write our history.
That's right.
And if we don't write our history, you let somebody else write your history, it's not going to be true history. And it's just amazing.
It'd be a
The way you
mystery.
put it together, it's just amazing.
That is quite honorable. Maybe I should be put on that note.
This is Professor K. Come here. He's the responsible one. He came up with the idea. And he wants to see this every year grow and grow and grow.
I'm with you.
So we thank God for him. And we thank God for our dear brother here. I don't care what he said. He good looking. You see, I'm between the 2 mountains.
So I think everything has sort of been said. I mean, I don't think I can add anything more. So I will just say thank you all for allowing me to host the very first event like this in honor of the great Muhammad Ali. And certainly I'm a fan. He's one of my heroes, my childhood heroes. And hope that you all had a good time. Did you have a good time? All right. It's certainly my pleasure. It's not about the big events, it's about the intimate events like this and where you can really make a difference. So thank you all for coming out, and I certainly appreciate you, and I hope to see you tonight on Local 10 News at 11 o'clock. Hope you'll watch.